Alright guys, welcome to this free workshop today. So happy that you guys are here because this workshop is going to be very special. We're going to go through what I call the astral projection journey, and there's this map that I've created which outlines the two main paths. There's the path of success, which you can see at the top, and the path of confusion, which is related to the different path that people take usually when it comes to learning astral projection. And so these paths, if I go a little bit backwards here, you can see that these paths, they lead to different desired or undesired situations here. So at the top, we have the desired situation with the path of success, and the path of confusion, we have the undesired situation. And there's a few steps to this process, and we're going to go through these different puzzle pieces. And what better way to go through this than to actually talk to somebody that has been through the journey and reached her desired situation. And I'm talking about Kathleen, who's going to come up here next talking to us. And so what I want to do is just really have this as a blueprint of the map of the journey, and then we're going to talk to her, we're going to find out what her journey has been, and I'm going to go back and forth between her and this map here to really help you get more clarity on how you can astral project, how your journey can be. Because the thing is, everyone is different, but the journey is quite similar, and the best you can do is to learn from somebody that has already been on the journey, like Kathleen, because she has a lot of valuable insights that's going to help you understand what you have to do in order to become successful at astral projection. So without further ado, here is Kathleen. Hi Kathleen, thank you so much for helping me with this workshop. So I want to start from the beginning. I wanted to learn more about what brought you to astral projection.
Oh my, so I was looking around for the longest while. I was interested in it for quite some time. Books, little short videos, all kinds of information out there that just wasn't getting me anywhere. And I think I just found you on Facebook and started looking at that. And I loved the idea of acceleration for the whole process, because some of the processes just seemed like they would take forever, and they had you go through all kinds of well, you can only do so much this week and only so much next week, and then eventually you'll get there. And I wanted to get there faster. I felt like I'd already put a lot of time, energy, and effort into this whole thing, and so I wanted to.
So guide us through from the beginning. What was it that spiked your interest for learning this? Was it something that you wanted to achieve specifically, maybe a specific thing that you wanted to do, or what was the motivation for you?
Oh well, I guess I've always had some interest in just, I guess. I don't know, hard to express exactly, but I wanted to be able to connect to spirits. I wanted to be able to connect with inner self. I wanted to be able to connect to higher sources. And, as you grow and live in this world, you start losing family members and friends and all that. And I wanted to be able to connect to them too, because I was quite convinced that they still exist in some form, reincarnational or otherwise. And so just to be able to connect to those things that the rest of the world doesn't seem to acknowledge or understand. And because I just knew they were there. So that was motivation. And then the more I learned about astral projection, the concept of going into these other realms and these other experiences was just fascinating.
So why astral projection? This is a key question that we ask all our students. Why is it important to you to astral project? What is that you want to achieve with this practice? What are you here for? Because if you don't know that, you will not actually succeed with this journey. You have to have a very strong why. And that is what we call your desired situation. So if we look at the map here, you have your current situation on the left side. This is where you start off. This is who you are right now. And then on the other side, you have at the top, you have your desired situation. So that's where you want to be, and that's the at the top we have the path of success here, and at the bottom we have the path of confusion, and the undesired situation that you don't want to have, right? And so what is the desired situation? You need to know that when you start with this practice. And if you haven't sort of figured it out yet, it's just a matter of sitting down, writing it down, writing down in a piece of paper or wherever, just writing down, why do you want to ask to project? This is so important to your success with this practice and with anything else in life, right? You need to know why you're doing something, because this isn't going to be something that you're just going to do for one day or two or a week. It's going to be most likely something you're going to do for months, probably years. And so you need to know your motivation. Yeah, right. And then, so what did you do? You start reading books and stuff, or you watch some videos, or you took some programs? How was your journey?
Yeah, primarily I started with books. I like to read. So I did start mostly with books. Occasionally, I'd see things, I'd get on these email lists and stuff, and they'd have all these different suggestions on what to do. But I think what it was mostly lacking was what I got through your program, which was with the coaching. And, without the coaching, you really don't know if you're doing things right. You really don't know, I guess, some of the little subtle things that might make a difference, little suggestions, because everyone's different. And what works for one person doesn't work for another. So just to get that little extra information and learn how to maybe relax more or not try so hard, which is hard.
And it felt, did you feel really frustrated, or like how was that initial journey? Because you can imagine if you're just reading text about this, it is quite hard to get all the details and everything, right? It must be very like, oh, okay, what does that mean? How do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
A bit confusing.
Yeah, very frustrating and very confusing. And you start thinking, gee, I'm just not somebody that can do this. It's not even possible. And, there's something that's inherently in me that just won't allow me to do this. But I was stubborn and wanted to do it anyway. So yeah, I think it helped to just kind of, I can't say enough about the coaching, honestly. I think that made a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, the coaching is super important. When you're learning this stuff, to be able to speak to a person that can guide you, that has done it, that has been on the journey that you're taking, is really priceless, because how else are you going to know, right? It's really confusing when you do this on your own. Okay, so Kathleen was actually learning through books first. That's how she started her journey. She was reading different books. And although books are an amazing tool to just be able to get information about a subject like astral projection, it's very inspiring as well to read books. Definitely recommend it. But when it comes to actually learning the steps, learning the practical aspects of how to do it and succeeding with it, it's a bit more difficult, because we are then getting, most likely you're going to get stuck. That happens for everybody at some point on the journey. And so where do you ask the book how to get unstuck? How do you work with that? The book doesn't offer you that, but coaching does. And so if we look at the map here, we talk about the knowledge, the guidance, and it's really about the theoretical instructions, step by step, what you have to do. And that is something that you can consume with videos. You don't need to have coaching for that. And so that's what we have in our program. We have videos giving you all the step by step, right? And then when you get stuck, that's when you need somebody to talk to. And that's what the coaching is for. You need somebody that can understand what you're going through, that has been there themselves, and it can give you tips along the way. And this is really crucial when it comes to learning any skill in life, really. That's the fast track. And the thing is with astral projection is that when you don't get any help and you've tried over and over and over, you get frustrated, it's very easy to give up. And I personally did not do this myself either. I also had help. I had guidance. I had somebody that could help me get unstuck. And I know for sure that if I didn't have that, I would for sure most likely given up quite quickly, thinking that it wasn't even possible for me, because that was the mindset I was coming from. I had a limiting belief that I'm not really gifted, so this is probably not going to work for me. And with that mindset, I would have probably given up within the first weeks. But luckily, I had someone to ask for guidance, and they helped me move forward. And you did try it on your own for a while. and then you didn't give up. And that's really remarkable, because a lot of times people actually do give up. Like, they try, and then they reach that conclusion, which you said, like, oh, I probably am just not able to do this. This is not something I can do. I'm not gifted enough. Or I know I was like that in the beginning myself. I was like, oh, I don't think I can do this. This sounds too crazy, too out there to be able to accomplish, like, in a meditation. Like, it just sounded just so yeah. I think that in the beginning, the first time you try it, you're like, okay, let's see this. I saw this video or I read this book, and it seemed like I just have to do this and it's going to work. And then when you do it and it doesn't work, you feel really lost very quickly, because you realize, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to that point, and then you the solution for you was to join our program. That was what you did, right? Like, okay, mm-hmm. This program seems interesting. What was it that made you decide to join the program?
Oh boy. Well, just everything that was presented in the initial introduction to it, mm-hmm. Talk of the coaching, and it kind of felt like more of a community, I guess, partially because it was through Facebook, honestly. Made me feel like, this is maybe something that could work more for me than other things, because, you can't talk to your family and friends about it. They think you're a little bit cuckoo. Yeah. It just seemed like it was something that could just kind of work together more. It really drew me in, just mostly because of that whole aspect of not doing this on my own, I guess, and having real people. Yeah. Yeah, like the community aspect, I think it is very important, because doing this alone, and I mean, the thing is that you can start this off alone for a little bit, but to keep going with this, it's hard if you can't share with anybody else in your life, right? Because people think you're weird, or they just don't get it. They just will tell you, why would you do that? Like, that's weird. Just, do something different, do something normal. And then you can get quite quickly demotivated, because we are human beings. We're very much social tribe animals, and we like to do things socially. And if no one else does this, it's very hard to kind of motivate yourself and just keep doing it. But when you have a community that there's a lot of people that are doing it, and they're all sharing what they're doing, and you're sharing, and then you feel like you're a part of something, and then it feels much more natural to do it, right? It feels like, yeah, this is what we're doing together collectively here in this group. This section, we're talking about a community, having a community for the practice or for anything that you want to do in life is really, really helpful. I mean, otherwise you feel really lonely doing this, and especially something that's so out there like this. It's very easy to start feeling like you're a little bit crazy or something. But when you're in a community of other people, they're also crazy like you. I'm just joking. They're also really interested in the same thing as you are, and have these very deep desires, right, to understand oneself and go beyond the physical. It's a whole different ballgame. And that's why I put it as the first step into the process. And so here at the top, we have being a part of a community, and we also talk about a supportive environment, and that also extends into a good location that you're going to practice. Are you going to be in a house full of flatmates that are going to have parties every night, or maybe a bunch of kids that are crying at night? We're trying to practice. What kind of environment are you going to practice in? You want to be in a good environment. You want to be preferably alone in your bedroom when you do the practice, or you can have a different room, preferably a different room than your bedroom, that you can actually dedicate yourself to this practice. And so that's like the first step, having a good location, having that space where you can practice this practice, and then having a community around it, or having people around you that's practicing with you. Maybe it's a friend, just one person will do, really. But having multiple people that are doing this practice at the same time, and also people that have been through the same process that you're going to go through, that you can reach out and ask questions. A community is so much more powerful.
And of course, that this is what I'm talking about right now is the path of success, and down below is of course the path of confusion, which will be that you're in a difficult environment where it's loud, you don't have a room to practice, your bed is shared by somebody else, and they're snoring every night. It's a stressful location, or you are just alone practicing this. There's nobody that you can talk to about this. No one understands it, so you're completely alone. How long are you going to be able to keep going with this practice alone? At some point, you're going to feel like you're kind of left out, from the rest of society. So it's very important to be connected with other people when you're doing this practice. What doubts did you have when you started the program?
Oh boy, all kinds.
What risks or what doubts did you have about it, or about joining it from the beginning? Like, what kind of negative thoughts came into your mind?
Well, of course, the obvious one being that, oh, here I'm trying something else. I'm throwing more money at something that's not going to work. And I'm really glad I took that chance. But yeah, just is it really going to work? And again, of course, that whole question of, is it even something that I can do? Is it something that's within my capabilities to be able to do this?
Okay, so there was two things. So first is like, can I do this? And will this program work? Will this program actually deliver on its promise? Yes, they say they're gonna help you to get out of body, and it's all fancy tools and everything, but is it actually gonna work, or is it just like a bunch of marketing gimmicks or something, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, totally makes perfect sense. And I think this is also why it's so important to make these videos, to share with people that it does work if you get help from somebody that knows this stuff and that has created a whole system for it. Then it does work much, much better than if you're trying to do it on your own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
And I am curious, like, what kind of challenges did you face on your journey of learning this? Because of course it's a journey. It's not just, oh, I just started a program and I am perfectly able to Astral Project within 1 week and it's all great. It's a journey, and I'm just curious about how your journey has been.
Yeah, it's a journey that ebbs and flows. Even today, I don't get astral projection every single time. Sometimes I go for stretches when I don't at all, but then when it does, it's really cool. But when I started out, I think I just kind of was trying to do things according to the program, of course. And I found, even for myself with this program, that I had to kind of modify things a little bit, because I found I wake up a lot during the night. And so I was capturing my dreams throughout the night, but that was kind of a conflict with some of the other parts that I was trying to do with getting out of body. And so I had to make some tweaks there. And I found that it was better to just kind of do it a little bit differently, go beyond that, go into that third step where you're going from more conscious to astral project, as opposed to from the dream state, because just the way my body works, I guess. And so I was able to do that for a while, just had a few experiences, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, I can't do this anymore. That felt like something was dragging me down, something was keeping me from actually coming out. And it was really kind of frustrating. But that's when I had the experience with a hypnotherapist, which was added to the program right around that time. And that was amazingly helpful, working with her. And yeah, she walked through a lot of the blocks and just kind of stepped through it very gently. And she absolutely understood where I was coming from. She has done her own work with astral projection. And it was just great. I mean, it really made a difference. And that got me right back on track again. And I've been able to really work with that. And anytime I feel like it's starting to creep back up on me at all, I kind of think about some of the pointers that she gave me and think about how to kind of release some of those blocks for myself. So it was a wonderful tool. It really made a difference.
Right. So you went through the program and you tried the different methods. We teach 3 different methods. And you found out that actually the last one, the third one, was the one that was more for you. Because you start to see, I believe you start to have lots of non-physical sensations. You start hearing things, you start seeing things, feeling things. Things were happening, but you weren't getting out of body. But there's lots of signs here and there that you are in the right state. And then you started to exit, so you got out of your body. And then at some point there was some fear or something that kicked in, or there was some sort of, was there a fear? Or was it a mental block or something?
Yeah, maybe a combination of that.
A combination. Something happened where you just couldn't do it again, which was actually quite unique, because normally when a student is, when someone is able to get out of body, they usually, it's kind of almost like an engine that you start. It's like starts a bit slowly, and then it just kind of keeps going better and better and better because you start to get it. But for you, there was just something that happened in the middle of that. And suddenly there was like no more projections for you for a while. And we're like, okay, it seems like there is some sort of blockage, because you are doing everything correctly. You are getting into the right state. You're hearing these sounds, you're having all these sensations, but then there's something that keeps you stuck. And that's where we're like, okay, I think it's time for you to work with the hypnotherapist. And it was, I think it was just about around that time that we added hypnotherapy to the program. Before there wasn't, but we realized that, okay, this seems to be blocks that is stopping people from having these experiences. So then we started doing hypnotherapy, and you had a session with her, and I think it was immediately after that session, you had another projection, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes,
yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really so helpful. Yeah.
Yes, so in this section, we're really talking about being in an empowered state of mind. And that, if we look at the map here, is the next piece, which is being in an empowered state of mind on the path of success, being positive, open-minded, flexible, brave, confident, determined, organized, disciplined, analytical, patient, and also have self-love while you're doing the practice. These are the winning ingredients to the mindset when it comes to doing this practice. And of course, on the path of confusion below, a problematic state of mind, being negative, close-minded, lots of limiting beliefs, fearful. Fear is a major one. I mean, limiting beliefs and fears, fear is a limiting belief. And there's a lot of those happening with people when it comes to this practice. So the best way to approach this is to approach it with a very open mind. Do not have any expectations or limitations, and stay away from all of the scary stuff that you can find online, about demons and all kinds of stuff like that. You don't want to have these kind of fearful belief systems. You want to be very free of any belief system. The more free you are, the less sort of religious background you have, the more you're going to be able to go further, because you don't bring a bunch of filters with you where you think or you push reality in a certain direction. You allow reality to be whatever it is, and you're just an explorer of that reality. The next part is insecure, undecided, scattered, lack of discipline, no reflection, impatient, beating yourself up. So this is basically the opposite of the path of success, where we have patience, self-love, discipline, and all that. So it really comes down to not being what most people do when they go with this practice is they have a very, very, very high expectations that it has to happen within the first days or something, or within the first weeks, and they don't realize that this is a very ancient practice. This is a muscle that you probably haven't trained your whole life. And so, do you ever go to the gym and expect to just lift 100 kilos as soon as you get to the gym? In some sort of exercise. Do you expect to just like lift the heaviest lift you have in the gym? You don't. You expect that you're going to go to the gym, you're going to build up the muscles, and then you'll be able to lift the heavier weight. It's very much like with the same with astral projection. You will not necessarily be able to astral project straight away, although that happens sometimes. That's not what you want to aim for. This is not about getting out of body as quickly as possible. This is about learning how to get out of body consistently, so that you can use this tool as a way to explore consciousness, so that you can go out of body multiple times and have experiences that collectively, all of those experiences will start painting a picture of reality for you, and you start having your own personal experience with truth, with evidence of what is happening beyond your physical body. In these other realms, with spiritual guides, with deceased loved ones, whatever it is that you are looking for. And so mindset is, I would say, the most important part of the whole puzzle piece. And this is something that people bring with them to the practice. And it's really important to just be able to surrender yourself, surrender parts of yourself, and just really just dedicate yourself to the practice with an open mind. Do not bring a bunch of stuff with you. Try to let go of your fears and limiting beliefs. As soon as you have fears and limiting beliefs that you encounter, that you've noticed that you have to make sure to work on them. And that's why, when you're doing this practice, for most students that are students of Astral Projection, they will notice that this isn't separate from their spiritual journey. This is very much linked with it. You have to work on your shadow. You have to work on different parts of you that aren't aligned with your highest good. Because otherwise you won't get very far with this practice. Even if you get a body, you might not have any profound experience because you still have a bunch of negative beliefs that are holding you back. So working on the mindset is something that you have to do consistently all the time. And what we've done to help our students with this process is to incorporate hypnotherapy, where you have a professional that's able to really go inside your subconscious mind through just ask you some questions, nothing crazy. They're just able to understand, by asking you questions, they're able to understand what is going on with you. What is it that you're holding on to? What kind of story have you been telling yourself maybe from childhood about yourself that isn't relative anymore? It's not real. And how can you shift that so that you no longer are affected by that negative belief system or limiting belief that you have, so that you are free to be able to astral project, just like Kathleen did. She was encountering a block with her mindset. She then booked a session with our hypnotherapist and was able to astral project that very next day. And that's how powerful this stuff can be. When you unlock the subconscious mind, it can do amazing things. And to be honest, this practice is done only with the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind needs to basically be out of the way. You're going into this very deep trance state where your conscious mind is no longer conscious. It's very much in the background, and your subconscious is taking over. And if your subconscious has some fears about this practice, or limiting beliefs about this practice, or anything like that, there can be stuff that you're not even aware of that are in that very low section. You will not be able to get out of body. It will stop you. It's like a defense mechanism or a protection, so that you don't do something that you're not ready for. So you have to first heal whatever is there needs to be healing to be able to get out of body.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend to people that try to that have maybe had some projections, or maybe haven't, but they get stuck and they need to get unstuck? What would you recommend to those people?
Yeah, well, I think the important factors for me too was certainly to just kind of relax and not try too terribly hard. So just kind of think of it playfully. Think of it as, hey, I'm going to have fun. This is going to be really a fun experience, and just like not expect. I know this kind of not expect too much, but yet on the other hand, expect that I'm just going to have fun. So it's kind of a different approach to it, other than saying I have to get there, I have to do this. So that certainly makes a difference. And then, of course, having the access to the hypnotherapist when all else fails. So that both of those things, I think, are really, really helpful.
Yeah, and what you said there, it's so true. Like if you put too much pressure on yourself when you're trying to do this practice, and you become too attached to the outcome, then it just doesn't work. Like you're just stuck, right? So you have to let go of the outcome. You have to just focus on the process and be okay with just doing the practice and enjoying the practice. Did you start to enjoy the practice at some point where you're like, okay, I'm just doing this meditation, it feels good, I'm listening to Florentine's voice in my ear?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, and it's very relaxing. And as long as I'm in a good, relaxed state of mind, yeah, it works really quite nicely. And sometimes I just have spontaneous out of body experiences too, even when I'm not listening to the recordings. But yeah, it's very enjoyable actually. Yeah.
That's really nice. When do they happen? Is it at night, in the morning? And are you intending to practice, or does it just happen, or how does that work for you?
Well, for me, so far, what it's been is on nights when I'm not practicing and I just want to kind of just go to sleep. I've had some times when I just wake up within my dream, essentially, and it starts out feeling like it's a lucid dream, and then I realize, oh, wait a minute, no, hey, look at that, that's me over there in the bed. So it's like, oh, that's
Oh,
kind of
really
cool.
nice.
Yeah, that
I
was
didn't know
fun.
that. That's
Yeah.
really that's a lot of progress. So you start having spontaneous astral projections as well now.
Hmm.
It is like a muscle, you know. The more you train it over and over again, the more it becomes active, and it will even start happening when you don't practice. Like specifically, it just happens when you're in bed, because you become much more aware in these in between states. You train your awareness muscle to stay in these states, to have some sort of awareness in these in between state that we are going to naturally, but a lot of times we don't notice. We just fall asleep. We're just gone. But you train this muscle, especially through the direct method, because you're trying to stay in that state for a long time, and you're really training that muscle, that you become able to just be able to recognize when things are happening, just like you said now.
Hmm.
That's really cool. That's where you want to be. And I think the more you practice, the more and more it gets like that. The more and more it gets easier and easier.
Hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Kathleen is a massive action taker, and this puzzle piece here at the end is consistent practice. And this is what she did. You know, she would come to the coaching sessions, she would listen to what we tell her, and then she would practice, practice, practice. She would always practice. She would just keep practicing all the time, even if she didn't have any experiences within the first weeks. She would just keep practicing, and soon enough, she will start having them. And whenever she got stuck, she would come to a coaching session, and we will tell her what she needs to do. Then she will start practicing again, and then she will have success. But the key was that she just kept going. She didn't stop for a month to do something else, or she didn't get busy, or she didn't put it aside. She didn't give up. She just kept going. And as she kept going, she was taking it easy. Like she didn't push herself in a way that made her feel bad. Like she was just taking it slow, keeping herself happy, with no pressure, just doing the practice. And one of the important things that I say is to fall in love with the practice. Really enjoy the actual practice. Don't be attached to the outcome of getting out of body. Be just with the practice, enjoying that moment that you have with the practice, just practicing, just relaxing, doing, following the soundtrack, which is another puzzle piece over here on the map, training wheels. We have special soundtracks that we listen to for the different methods to get into these deep states. And you just want to fall in love to listening to these tracks or doing your meditation, and just don't be attached to that you have to get out of body tonight, tomorrow, this week, otherwise what? Just take it slow. This is not a practice that you can just rush or push yourself. It's not like going to the gym when you can just push yourself and get bigger and bigger if you push harder. This will be this is one of those things that you cannot compare to the gym, which is that you just need to be so relaxed that the slightest pressure that you put on yourself, either psychologically or physically, will block you from getting out of body, essentially. And so you need to be loving to yourself. You need to be in a good mindset, and you need to keep a consistent practice. And you need to fall in love with that practice. So you look forward to just do the practice. Just enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Don't be stuck following being attached to the outcome. Just enjoy the process. Everyone that's doing this, people have done it for years. Doesn't mean that they've done it every day for a year. Like there's life goes up and down. If you're too stressed and you're unable to relax enough, it's not going to happen. And if there's distraction in the house and people and kids and all of that, then that's also making it more difficult. But you overcame so many challenges, and I think one of the things that's so what should I say? Yeah, it's kind of special with you that you came to so many coaching sessions. We have a lot of times we have students that don't come to coaching sessions, and when students come to coaching sessions, it's very clear that they start having success much quicker, and they have success. And you came to so many coaching sessions, and you would always take our advice and implement it, and you just listened to what we said. You were very easy to work with. You weren't contradicting anything. You're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then next day you tried it, and it's slowly started working everything. What would you say is, because what I see with you a lot of times is that you have a special mindset which allows you to keep moving forward even when it gets a bit difficult. And this is something that I see a lot of people that they don't get there because their mindset is kind of like in the way sometimes. And you must have put yourself in a mindset that was so healthy that it took you forward on this journey without making you stop or give up or making excuses, because that's also something that can happen. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I have too much work to do. Oh, I don't have time. Or it can be, there's a million excuses you can come up with, but you found a way through the challenging journey that it is to keep going and succeeding. What do you think the sort of key mindsets that you have been?
Well, I guess there are times, of course, when I knew that, I should be signing up for a coaching session. I'm like, well, I've been doing okay. I probably don't really need it, but I would have but this is what I'm trying to do. If I'm going to be committed to something, I want to really participate. And even, I mean, worst possible case, maybe I don't get anything out of the coaching session, but that never happened. I always got something, and I just would persevere because, if I'm going to do something, I want to just kind of stick with it. I put my ego aside. I don't know everything. Don't pretend I know everything. And just kind of see what I can learn, because that learning process is important. And we're always trying to learn more anyways. And so I guess it's a very learning kind of mindset, I guess.
Yeah, so like you said that you had moments where you're like, oh, I don't know if I need to go to a coaching session, because you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do the practice. You're supposed to practice. So you feel like, oh, well, I know what I need to do. I just need to wake up and do the practice, and that's it. Should I go to a coaching session tomorrow? And then you still went, even though you didn't feel like you had a specific question. So sometimes you would turn up without any questions. You just to be there. But I think that is what made you more successful, because you would go there and you would immerse yourself in the program, in the practice. You'll listen to astral projection stuff. You'll listen to other people. You'll hear stuff, and that's speaking to your subconscious mind that you want this. This is important. I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And then that's going to help you to be able to succeed. Even if you were to just sit there and listen and there was nothing new, but there was a lot of times you had lots of new things to go with. And I think that's one of the things that happens as well. And I know it's the same with me. I'm in other coaching programs, and sometimes I feel like, well, I have no questions, so I shouldn't go. And you just have to push yourself to go anyway. And next thing you know, you're learning things that you didn't even know about, and you just found a solution to something that you didn't know you had a problem with. And just like you get insights, basically, because there's like lots of valuable knowledge and wisdom that's being shared, and you get things out of it as long as you turn up. So I think that's what you did. You turned up to the coaching sessions, and you turned up for the practice as well, and you also tracked your practice. And just wanted to quickly show what that looks like in our system here for fun. So every single practice that Kathleen would do will be then saved in this tracking journal, and this is just kind of saving everything that happened and all the you can see the percentage of all the successes and everything that she did, and this is tracking, tracking your practice so that you know what you did that worked and didn't work, and we can start seeing a pattern of what you've been doing. And you've recorded 30 practices here. And that's, I know you did much more than 30 practices probably, but you recorded 30, which is great. And I'm curious, like using this tracking journal, how did you feel it was helping you?
Well, it's partially some motivation, I suppose, too, but also just kind of seeing how things were mapping out was interesting. Um, yeah, but I think the motivation, honestly, is like, well, I know I need to track this, and I know Florentine's going to be looking at it too. My teacher's going to be watching me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so a bit of accountability on that.
Mm-hmm.
And did you feel also that when you were filling these, because each question is related to a factor that has to do with your success with the practice. Did you feel that when you're filling in these different questions, did you feel like you were getting ideas of how you can improve your practice? Like, was it helpful?
Yeah, it was interesting. Some of the things that were interesting was the like the sleep timings when I would wake up to do the practice, and
Yeah.
different factors around that. So yeah, it was interesting just to see some of that, and yeah, there were like little tiny aspects. It was like, oh yeah, that was interesting. I wonder if that had something to do with it. And yeah, it was actually very interesting to see the numbers.
And have you seen your projection blueprint, which is this one?
No,
So
not
the
recently. Yeah.
tracking journal that you fill in when you have successful projections, it will generate this projection blueprint system that we designed, and then you can see the things that you've done that made your practice successful. So you can use it as a blueprint, so you just know what to do next time. Have you looked at it recently?
Not recently, no.
Not
Yeah,
recently.
that is pretty interesting,
Yeah,
though. Yeah.
yeah, it's cool. You can always print this out if you wanted.
Hmm. Yeah, I should do that.
Yeah, nice. So what has changed in your life today with all of these experiences that you've had with astral projection? Like you had a fair share, and did you feel like it's changed the way you see reality or yourself or anything like that?
Well, it's definitely had positive impact for sure. Um, I don't know, I think I'd have to say that mostly it's just kind of helped me to feel more connected with the universe.
Hmm.
It's helped me to feel like I feel like I've always expected that we don't just die and we're in the ground and that's that. So I feel as though I understand much more deeply and more completely that we are spirits and that we continue, we grow, we learn, and we have all these amazing experiences throughout our entire lives and multiple lives. And it's very uplifting in a lot of ways, and you don't feel alone. Even if you're in your house all by yourself, you're not really alone, and that's a wonderful
Yeah.
feeling too. Yeah, not in a scary way, but in a good way. So,
Do you have any experiences that you want to share?
I don't know. They're all kind of either personal or just
Yeah,
kind
you
of
don't
fun.
you don't have to. Just
So
just
yeah,
if
I
you
know.
had something that no, no.
Okay,
Okay, no worries. That's fine.
good.
And I was curious, like now moving forward, do you feel like you have the tools and the things that you need to be able to continue with your practice?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I really do. I've been very encouraged that it just kind of happens sometimes too. It's like, oh wow, I just had an out of body experience. So that's really very cool. And So yeah, and I do continue to listen to the video audios, that is, from time to time, just to kind of like when I feel like I really want to do this tonight. And other nights I just kind of let it happen on its own when it does. And yeah, I really feel encouraged and powered. Yeah, it's been a really good experience.
That's really wonderful.
Mhm.
So, what would you recommend for somebody that has been trying to ask project for some time, and they're stuck and they need something to help them lift off the ground? What would you recommend to them,
I think
knowing
a
now
lot of
what
it.
you know from everything that you've learned and everything?
For one thing, just stick with it, play with it, make it fun. It's all meant to be joyful. Life is supposed to be joyful. Um, yeah, show up, keep trying, and and if you're part of this program, absolutely keep up with the coaching. It's really important because you can even learn just even if you're not getting anything specific or getting questions, just listening to the other people in the coaching session too can be really valuable. So, other
Yeah,
students. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's so true. And I like what you said about keep it fun,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's so funny because you say it like nothing, there's no big deal, but it is a big deal because a lot of people get really frustrated when they've tried a few times and it didn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sign that you're in the wrong mindset. And when you are in the right mindset, you keep it fun. You just, oh, I'm gonna find ways to make this more enjoyable.
Yep.
It's something that I'm actually planning on creating something new to add to the program that's going to make it more enjoyable for people. In terms of creating a new habit, there's a whole section about the psychology of how you can create a new habit that you start enjoying and stuff. Um, I think the practice in itself is a very enjoyable practice. It's not like you have to go and run a marathon around the house or something. It's very relaxing. You're not doing anything physically. You're just laying down and you're just relaxing. Essentially, you're just really relaxing as deeply as possible. So it's quite a enjoyable thing. But it's about how do you create that habit of doing that consistently for a longer period of time without being attached to the outcome that it has to happen tonight, tomorrow night, or this week, and just keep going with it and just relax and take the pressure of yourself and just focus on the actual process of learning the astral projection and not forcing it. That's I think that's really really important. And you had that attitude throughout the whole journey. You just kind of like, yeah, oh, I'll figure it out. So, I'm coming to the coaching. Maybe I'll learn something, maybe not. Maybe it's going to take another month, maybe not. Like you just kind of really went with the flow. You didn't have an energy of like, no, it has to happen now. I've been trying too hard. Like you just chill.
Yep.
And that I think it's a lesson for everybody that is practicing this to just really be like that. Be really loving to themselves when they do this practice, and don't torture themselves with the practice of having to get there now or tomorrow. It's easier said than done, for sure, but it is so important because with this practice you have to be so relaxed, so relaxed, and if you are putting a pressure on yourself, you won't be that relaxed. You will be a little bit tense, and that small tenseness will basically keep you away from having projections.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much for doing this workshop with me. I think we got some valuable insight on your journey, and I think it's going to help other people as well, knowing what they should watch out for and what they can do when they get stuck. So, thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this workshop. I hope it's been educational. I hope you got some more clarity on what it takes to become a astral projector, become someone that can travel to different dimensions and heal and connect with deceased loved ones. It's work, but it's fun work. It's meditation. It's mindfulness. It's all the good things that you probably like. packed together in a day-to-day kind of schedule kind of thing. And if you feel like you want to go on the path of success following this structure here that I outlined, then definitely get in touch with us, because I can tell you that the path of confusion is not very fun, and it's really sad to see people go on that path, because I know where it leads. It usually leads to giving up, thinking that you're not good enough for this practice, that you're not gifted enough, which is so far away from the truth. Like I said, I thought I was not gifted, and I have had so many experiences, and there's so much more, so many levels to this. I'm only scratching the surface of what is possible with this. There's so much to do. There's so much for us to do as a species. I believe we need to tap into this power collectively to be able to bring this knowledge to our societies, to the world. This is not something that I don't want it just to be for a few people. I want this to be for many people to be able to tap into what they are naturally born to be able to tap into. This is not some drug you have to take. This is all natural. You can just do this from the comfort of your bedroom, right? Of your home. And so why not learn this skill right now? I encourage you guys to definitely do this. If you feel like this is something for you, definitely jump on this journey. With or without us, jump on this journey. And if you choose to work with us, then all you have to do is just click the link below and book a call with us, and then we'll just guide you through everything, and then we start working together. If everything is okay, we'll find out in the application and in the call. So looking forward to see you guys on the inside. Take care.
If you would like to find out more information about our Astral Projection program, then please click the link below and visit our websites. Here you can watch our free Astral Projection training video, our student stories, and also book a free discovery call with us. During this call, we will discover where you are at with the practice right now and where you would like to be in the future, and then create a plan of action and making that a reality for you. So we're looking forward to be speaking to you soon.